Hey everyone, so as promised, I said I was going to put a video together just to walk through my trading setup and my indicator setup with this new ATAS X platform. I'm trying to pronounce it correctly. It's ATAS versus ATAS. And ATAS X is meant to be the next generation platform that they're working on. Their current platform just works for Windows. This one works for both Mac and Windows. I am a Mac user. And Orderflow platforms are limited for Mac users, and I would say this one is amazing. It's top. I really like the look and feel. The feel really feels like pretty close to TradingView charts and how they move and how they scale and how customizable they are. And so I've been really liking that. And also, it's just great having like real order flow data when it comes to the different indicators. And so I'll walk through just kind of the setup that I have here. And then so maybe you can kind of play around with those indicators. But in general, I scalp and I scalp kind of directionally. I look at trends, I look at what are key levels, I look at what delta looks like from a order book volume perspective. And then I like to look at just general direction of order flow and options flow. And so that's essentially how I trade. And so I'm really just trying to look at inflection points and direction, right? And so I have a lot of indicators, but they're all really centered around those things that I talked about, right? Like the trends, for picking out levels using order flow and different other kind of data sources, and looking at the deltas, obviously, like who's in control, buyers or sellers, and the actual direction of the flow itself. And so the first thing I like to do is I like to look at kind of the rolling 60-minute for the cumulative volume delta. And so this is basically that. And so I've had this on TradingView. I mean, it's out there, you can kind of have that, but they're all kind of proxies, right? They're all proxies using lower time frame candles, like the 1 second to 5 seconds candles and all that, which was a good proxy for direction, but it's good to know that like this is based off real data. So you have more confidence in that. I would say that price does move contra to CVD more often than not sometimes, right? And so like direction of CVD is not the be all end all for the direction of price. Price is going to be the king when it comes to where it's going. But I really like this as kind of, it kind of helps ground me in which direction I should be looking to take a trade. And then you have to wait for price and everything else to kind of confirm that. And so that's my first thing I look at is a rolling 60-minute. On a separate chart, I do have the CVD candles for the session. And so that's something I also kind of watch as well. And I guess I can kind of flash that. And so I have that here too on like the 15-minute. I'll have your session CVD for the electronic trading hours and all that. But I'll have that as a reference. But for trading, I really look at, because my trades are going to be, from minutes to like 15 minutes, right? Because I'm scalping. And so I'll use this for direction. Other thing I really like, which I built in TradingView, and I was really happy that they had this out of the box for ATAS X, but it's called Delta Colored Candles. And so I have it set with a rolling 15 minutes because I like the 15-minute structure. And basically it starts doing the color coding when the delta exceeds 600 in either direction, right? And so if it's under 600, then it's more of that in-between type thing. But in this case, like I'm moving the grayscales just to kind of keep it clean. But the whites obviously mean bullish, and then the dark grays mean bearish, right? And the light grays is kind of that transition. And so even just with these two indicators, like the rolling 60 is going up, things are turning green here or turning bullish here, like you can look for an entry, and kind of ride that up. And so, I do like that. Like that's pretty clean. And I like the way that it looks. And another thing that I like to look at also is imbalance. And so there's lots of indicators on TradingView for imbalance, but it's not real data, right? Like it's kind of approximation. And so I like this because it's using actual real bid and ask data. And so you can know that like this actually happened at this price level, which gives me like a lot more confidence in the levels. And so purples, I tried to just go with the black and whites or the grays and whites, but it was hard to distinguish these levels versus other levels. So I'm using just the purple and greens. But purples here is basically bearish imbalance. So people are really pushing us down. People are really pushing us down here. Green is bullish imbalance. So somebody really tried to push us up here at this level. The fact that they failed, you're like, okay, we'll go. And then you can kind of see here, if I zoom in, you know, the imbalance level pushed us down, pushed us down. And so those are great indicators as well. Again, it's just which direction is price being pushed. And then you have to wait to see if price actually confirms that. I guess other thing I didn't mention at the beginning is in ATAS and ATAS X, you can just kind of zoom in and then you get the actual footprint chart. And so for me, I like delta, and that's what I like to keep in mind. So when I'm in a trade, I do like to kind of zoom in and just kind of see like our sellers kind of winning out here and all that, and like how are things going. Then you can kind of see here a lot more selling, selling, selling. And then eventually we get to a place in this candle where delta gets negative on the rolling 60, selling, 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 more red, and then we kind of break down, which is cool. And then this is supported. And so I like to keep an eye on that. And so when I'm in trades, I'll zoom in and just kind of see what things look like. Then you can kind of zoom out, which is just super cool for me. And so there's that. Other thing I like to look at is, so you have imbalance, which is basically which direction is price being pushed, right? The imbalance between the bid and the ask, like who's more aggressive. And then you'll have absorption, which is basically, if there's a lot of passive orders at a certain level and people are trying to push past it, but there's enough orders there to basically stall price and basically pause it and stop it. And so you want to kind of keep an eye on that as well. And that's one of the things I do. So here the grays are going to be your bearish absorption, and then the white is going to be your bullish absorption here. And so I have it extended out just to see how price will react when it gets to those levels. But you can kind of see here, like at the open on the 12th, I guess I can zoom in here a little bit. So, we opened up, the CVD candles themselves were a little bit bearish, right? The dark gray, but then you have all these white lines where it's like imbalance, like people are really trying to push it up. They tried to push us up, but then you had this absorption here at these highs, and those just became unmitigated for the whole day. And then it's like, all right, well, you're breaking back down, another absorption level here, breaking back down, then it really broke the low of day at that point, and then we just kind of went, right? And then you look at the rolling CVD, that was, down the whole time. So short was definitely the way. Unfortunately, this day I only closed the gap and I was like, oh, great trade. And then fucking just kept going. So there you go. But so these are in combination. I like to watch these two levels, right? And just kind of see like which direction is price going, using kind of the CVD candles as kind of confirmation along with this. And so you can kind of see here, bulls try to take on, they try to get stronger here, but you can kind of see we never flipped on the rolling 60, and then we ended up breaking, imbalance happened, and then off we went. And so those are the kind of the levels that I like to watch. And then, previous kind of bullish absorption level here and bullish imbalance level here, we pushed back through those, but then, shortly after that, we did kind of bounce around for a little bit. And so those are the levels I like to kind of keep in mind and kind of trade. Obviously, look at price structure and everything else. Other thing is, looking at big trades. And so ATAS X has kind of two indicators for big trades. So you have this one, which is like adaptive big trades. And so it basically just kind of looks at the current state of volume and everything, and it plots like what it believes are big. And so you can kind of see here, there was 260 lots sold here. Or yeah, these are gray, so they were sold. And in here, there was bright white, and the 213 bought at this level where it was also absorption on the bullish side. And so you can just kind of see that and just see like what price does when those things hit. What I like about it is these things show up pretty quickly once the transaction happens, so you can kind of really pay attention which direction you want to go. So I like that for the adapted thing. And then there's also just general big trades. And so you'll see that one. I made these ones bigger, where over here, so you can kind of see like here's a big sell, here's a big buy, and all that. And so these I set for, I think, like 100 or 200 trades, so it has to be 100 or 200 lots in that transaction for it to show up. And so it just gives you an idea of size there versus just what's relatively big. And so again, I like to kind of look at that and just see how things are going. I think you can kind of see here on Friday, we had at the open here, we had a bunch of these big sells, and we fell over, but then we fell into this, like bullish absorption and kind of shot back up. Big buyer stepped in, and then we just kind of like eked up from there. And so I like to kind of see that just to see, where price could go. Again, it's really like you have to let price confirm, really, but it's just good indications. And then like end of day on Thursday, yeah, this is Thursday, right? Yeah. So you can kind of see like big sell, big buy, big sell, big sell, big buy, big buy, big buy, big sell. And so like they're just fighting at the end of the day, right? And so here when I see like a bunch of just like they're everywhere, you kind of have to just let things kind of shake out and just kind of let how things shake out and be how they are. Also, ATAS has, like the little, you can do like the fixed like volume type thing. So for me, I like to look at delta. So you can kind of just analyze that and see, okay, more sellers right here, more buyers, and just kind of help that give you some type of a bias of what to look for. And so, it's a good little tool there. And then, so that is all that. So this market book order by Dom. So this is not going to work now since the market's not open, but this basically shows you like large bid and ask orders in real time visually on the chart. So you'll see like a line here and stuff, but maybe I'll go through that at another time. All right, maximum level. So this is for the day where the most volume traded. So it's kind of like a point of control, but it's absolute maximum volume traded for the day. Heatmap, which right now for ATAS, it seems to be hit or miss on NQ for some reason. I think maybe because the market's closed, like it shows sometimes and it doesn't. I have this set for, I think 100. So I need to see at least 100 lots sitting on the bid or the ask for a period of time for it to show up. Like those are the things that I care about. And then we have VWAP. So, VWAP is VWAP. I do like out of the box though that where you can kind of see VWAP is kind of going down, but then for the next day it actually plots where it ends. For the next day in case that becomes some significant level for you to watch. Which from Thursday it ended here, and then Friday that became resistance where we pushed up to and then we fell over. So it's a nice little level to kind of keep in mind and just see how price kind of reacts there. So that's pretty cool that it comes out of the box like that. Bar timer, which is fine. And then my account info, which I won't show here. And then what I do like, what I recently put is, so it has market profile and TPO. And so what I decided to do is because I do like to trade kind of off the 15-minute and the 1 minute. And here basically helps me plot the 15-minute candle on the 1 minute chart, right? And so I'll take it off. Take it off. So you can kind of see here that, sorry, my voice is going away. So you can kind of see here that we have the actual candle, right? So it opens, it closed red, and this yellow dash is basically the point of control for that 15 minutes. And so this will update in real time. So from a scalping perspective, it helps me know like which direction is volume most being traded and then where does it kind of close type of thing. And so it's just good for kind of directional or for going sideways. So you can kind of see here, like here we were hanging out in this level, this like 24,850s level for like 15, 30, 45 minutes around 10 o'clock, right? And so you have to see, okay, like what is the price going to do here? We bounced off VWAP. Are we going to keep going or not? Type of thing. And so it's just good to kind of give you that reference there. And so, yeah, I mean, that's basically my setup. Again, always can kind of zoom in and just see what the deltas look like, especially if I'm in a trade, and just really see, really have that precision to say, okay, look, where's the most volume traded in this 15-minute block? And also, more sellers here, more buyers here, so they're kind of canceling each other out. Buyers here, but price is breaking down. Buyer stepped in here, but we kind of kept breaking. And so for me, it's like I like to look at the delta and then see which way price is going to kind of understand like who's in pain at that point. Like here, like these people bought and it's like, oh, they're in pain, but where's the obvious stop? Obvious stop would probably be down here. And so you kind of see, and is this them adding or whatever, or maybe new participants are there and then, we kind of push back up. But yeah, I mean, so that's essentially the setup that I have. Happy to go deeper in the platform as I continue to learn it. But I think for me, it's like everything I've ever tried to build in TradingView, I have it out of the box, which is really cool. And I guess ATAS as a platform, they do let you build custom indicators. I don't think it's available for the ATAS X platform yet, but once that's available, it's awesome because, you can use GPT and actually build your own custom indicators for all the things. And so I have lots of ideas to kind of tweak the out of the box indicators to be more to my liking, which is really cool. And then just try to merge things a bit more. And so, yeah, hopefully this is helpful. If you're a Mac user and you're on TradingView, but you've been interested in Orderflow, but like there's no platforms for you and all that, and maybe you've tried Bookmap and all that, like Bookmap's cool, but I feel like this is much, much better. So yeah, if you have any questions, I guess hit me up in the comments. Happy to, answer anything I can. And I'm learning about this platform as I go. I've been using it for about a month, but I will tell you, I am sold. Like I am with it. So yeah, well, good luck. And hopefully this was helpful and don't get caught. Thank you.